Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, welcome back to my greenhouse, and welcome to this series of shorts dealing with the topic of watering. Watering cacti and other succulent plants, when to water them, when not to water them. I'm not going to tell you how to do it, I'm going to tell you how I go about it, and maybe that works for you as well. Another key question, of course, is when do I start watering my plants again after the dormancy period? Again, $1 million question that you will find a lot of views on about as the temperatures start picking up in the spring. And this may be in February in some places, this may be as late as April in other places. It depends, of course, where on the northern hemisphere you're living, or of course on the southern hemisphere, because the further south you get, the cooler your temperatures and the later the onset of spring, of course, will be as well. Just the same, just mirror image to what we're experiencing on the northern hemisphere. And so as soon as I can tell from the long-term weather forecast that there is milder, warmer weather coming, that's when I start preparing the plants too. And by the way, the plants themselves are preparing for that onset of the growing season, because the continuously lengthening of the daytime, the slow gradual increase of the temperatures, and the increasing brightness of the sun, those are environmental cues that will trigger the plants to prepare for the upcoming growing season. So as soon as I can see that there is a good chance of a spell of milder weather, I spray, I mist my plants maybe once every 3-4 days. I can do that early in the morning, for instance, and that allows for whatever moisture and mist that was sprayed onto the plants, that dries, by the end of the day, which significantly reduces the risk of plant rot. So 2-3 spraying, misting events, if you like, and then a very slight watering, just to, again, signal to the plants there's moisture in the system, in the environment, and you can start to grow those roots, especially the root system that is located immediately below the ground surface. And cacti have a fantastic network of these shallow roots, and with these they can pick up the smallest amounts of water that actually penetrates into the ground. So those roots will be the first to be redeveloped. And remember, during the actual dormancy period, a lot of those roots have not been in action at all, because the plants were just, resting, no metabolism, no photosynthesis, etc. So usually after about 2-3 misting and spraying events, if you like, and maybe a light watering, we might now be into the 3rd, 4th week after the onset of the milder weather again. And provided we don't go back into a cold spell, because then I would just pause and I would wait with my reawakening program, so to speak. But when the weather gets milder again, I would continue. And that means about 3-4 weeks into the spring, I would then water for the first time properly. And that means, a good thorough drenching of the plants. I don't add fertilizer at this point yet, because the root systems really need to be re-established for the plants to be able to take on the nutrient salts from the fertilizer. And so if I were not to wait and actually just give fertilizer added right from the start, I would risk the soil actually becoming super salty, so to speak, an enrichment of the minerals from the fertilizer, because it wouldn't actually be picked up by the plant, and it would normally then just be stored in the soil, in the substrate. Not something you want, because it changes the pH of the soil, it changes the fabric. In the worst case, it can actually lead to sort of salt crusts on the top of the substrate in your pots. not something that the cacti like. Thanks so much for watching, and make sure not to miss the other parts of this series, watering of cacti and other succulent plants.